Hi everyone, I'm Darren Paul, Head Chef at Zagame's restaurant. Today we're going to be making our famous meatballs, slow cooked in Napoli sauce, topped with parmesan and accompanied with toasted ciabatta. So without further ado, let's get ourselves started. So we're going to be making our meatballs. What I've got here is 1.1 kilo of beef mince with about a 85% to 50% fat to meat ratio. 15% fat is really good for when it cooks, keeps it moist, so it doesn't dry out. The meat is good quality, good premium cut, and quite coarse, because at the end of the day with the meatballs it's very sort of homely, home cooking, so we don't want it to be too perfect, as it were. Okay, so I'll run through our ingredients. We've got chopped parsley, continental parsley, flat leaf parsley. We've got 2 eggs, about 3/4 cup of Parmesan cheese, Grana Padano, Italian, but you can use the Australian variety, a little bit cheaper but not as good flavour. Fine breadcrumbs. I've got minced onion here, which has just been blitzed in a blitzer, and I've drained that off as well just to get rid of any excess moisture. And then I've just got fresh basil, trusty pepper, salt. Right, so basic method is we'll go salt first, and quite a liberal seasoning initially, but I can always season later on. You can always add, but you can never take away. A little bit of pepper. From this part here, it's just adding our ingredients. So we'll add our breadcrumbs. Now the breadcrumbs are important because they're going to soften our final product. The breadcrumbs act as that, so it's just not going to be all meaty, and they do soften it. So not good for the gluten-free, but you can use gluten-free breadcrumbs. Then our parmesan for flavour, giving it that real Italian twist. Same again. Our minced onion, giving it that savoury flavour. I think of it like an Australian sausage roll, but it's an Italian meatball. So add the onion, like so. And then our fresh parsley, good handful of that, nice fresh herb. Basil, same again. Nice flavoursome basil there, nice and fresh. Smells great. And then 1 egg. Now I'm going to start with 1 egg first, because I reckon we may not need 2, but I'll feel that when I start to mix. At the moment it's 1 egg. So I've got a little bit of water here, just keep my hands nice and clean. And I also, just a little bit of water in there too. Just a touch. And that'll sort of like, as it were, melt the breadcrumbs as well. So then get my hands in there and really, really work it. Now you can use a mixer, you know, like if you've got a Kenwood at home or something like that, but I don't think there's nothing better than getting your hands in there and doing it yourself. So just mixing it all together, and then once that's all together, and like I said, you can smell it already. You know, the onion's doing its job. All your fresh herbs in there. Add a touch more water, just a little bit, and the water just breaks down those breadcrumbs as well. It's not going to impact too much on the final product. Right, and then taste test. Now you can do 1 or 2 things. You can make a little ball, cook it and have a taste, but I just eat it raw. If it was pork or something, that I'd be a bit more careful, but beef's okay. Not very often, but that's perfect. So, next stage of the proceedings is we're going to roll our meatballs. Now that's where the water comes in handy as well. The water, when you're rolling them, you're going to get a lot of fat build up in your hands, so use the water, creates a little barrier. Now I do about 80-gram balls, which at work we'll just normally just weigh one off and then just roll them individually equally. So straight on, 1, and just keep on going. Okay guys, so the second stage of our process, we've got our meatballs. Turn my oven on to 180 degrees, preheated, and I'm going to cook these on 180 degrees, fan forced. Doesn't matter if it's not fan forced, for 20 minutes, and that's just to cook them through, and then we'll go to the second stage. So in they go. Okay guys, so our time has just gone off of our meatballs. They've been cooking for exactly, ended up being 25 minutes on 180 degrees, 170 degrees depending on your oven. So I'll pull them out ready to go, and they've roasted up beautifully. So they've actually cooked all the way through. You can have a touch, they're like little bouncy balls. Perfect. Okay guys, so the next stage of the process of the cooking of our meatballs is we're going to transfer it into another container. You can use the same one, but I'm just being a pedantic chef. So straight into another container there. And I'm leaving behind a little bit of that oil, all the excess fat that we don't really need anymore, all those proteins. They are good, you can add them if you want. For presentation purposes, we do not, but the flavour's still good. Most of the nonners would not be too happy with me throwing that away, trust me. So we're going straight into our other tray there. Let's get rid of that. And then our next stage is we've got our hot Napoli here, which we made, cooked it out for about 2.5 hours, really good San Marzano tomatoes, a little bit of fresh basil there, some parsley, a little bit of tomato paste. Some people add red wine, white wine. Why? I just keep it simple, very, very simple. And onion, of course. I don't add garlic to mine, add garlic if you want. And then straight into, just put it straight over the top and cover it. As it cooks, you'll find that a lot of moisture will come out of the meatballs as well, and the sauce will go a little bit lighter. It will actually darken, sorry, but it'll be a little bit more runnier. But then as time goes on, it'll thicken as well, even more so. So keep an eye on it as it cooks. And then all I do, I'll put some baking paper straight over the top. Little blanket. A little bit of foil. Like a double foil over. So nice and then she's back in the oven. Okay guys, so we've got our meatballs. I'm going to cook them now. I've dropped the temperature of my oven to 150 degrees, 140 degrees, depending if it's fan forced or not. I'm going to cook it for an hour and 20 minutes, so it's really, really soft. And what that will do is just break down the meatball and make it soft for when you finally eat it. So it's almost like a slow braise. So when we go, turn our timer on, and we're good to go. See you in an hour and 20 minutes. Okay guys, so our meatballs have been cooking for an hour and a half now, hour and 20 minutes, sorry. So they should be all soft and ready to go. I did check them halfway through just to make sure they were travelling nicely and they were cooking beautifully. So obviously very hot, so be careful. Take out, watch that steam. Now she comes. Smells beautiful. So I'll just discard that. That little bit of paper there as well, that baking paper. That just stops if the foil breaks down. You don't get little bits of foil and that dropping into your final product. And then as you can see, the sauce is still quite nice. The meatballs have cooked in that sauce, they've taken all that flavour on, and they're beautiful and soft. So all I'm going to do, the way we serve them at work, it's a little skillet. So basically just 1, 2. Just for presentation purposes. You can just use a bowl at home, of course, or if you want to impress, dinner party style, awesome. Okay, then a little bit of that sauce on top. I'll have a bit of a taste as well, make sure she's all good. Yeah, beautiful, all the basil's gone through there. Taste that onion in there, really, really nice. Okay, and then we serve it with toasted ciabatta, a little bit of Italian grana padano. So we'll just, there's a few shavings over the top. Just for a bit of flavour. Have as much as you want. Let's get a bit extra flavour there. Presentation. And then I've just got some nice fresh basil. Same again, if anything, just for presentation purposes. On top. And there we have it. Homemade meatballs, toasted ciabatta, parmesan and basil. Beautiful.
Everybody loves it.